Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Actors Area. I'm your host, Sean Robert Grant, a.k.a. Reverend Sean Robert Grant. Happy to be back with you. Hello to everybody around the globe tuning in, whether live or during a recording. Very happy to have you here with me. And it's been a while, but the good news about that is I have been extraordinarily busy with different things, acting being one of them. And I'm happy to come back and just share with you a bit of the stuff that I've learned, even at this point in time in my career. And so just very, very happy to have that opportunity to do so. I want to thank you guys. We had a huge influx of downloads last week. So all you peeps out there that are downloading stuff from around the world, here at home in the USA and then in other countries as well, it's absolutely just terrific to have you be so supportive and to be able to benefit from, the material that we're distributing here. So with that being said, if you have any questions, any comments, any feedback, any type of correspondence or insight on anything, please, by all means, write to us at shaung04@gmail.com, and we will get back to you as soon as we possibly can. With that being said, let's get into today's message. One of my favorites, as always. They're all my favorite, but I love talking about the idea of success and how to be a success. And, so the topic is basically setting up your mind to succeed as an actor or actress and performer, because you're actually all three of those. Well, two out of the three you are. But, I put this in the description. And one of the things that comes to mind is there's a lot of visual evidence, so to speak, of success when it comes to being an actor. But at the same time, what I notice is there is minimal content out there. When you look into other industries, you'll see massive amounts of content out there. Like, the financial industry, the business industry, although acting is a business, but still, like, when you're going into business, when you're going into certain things and you realize how much information there is out there to help people to find different ways to be inspired and then to eventually succeed in their chosen field, I feel like it's just not the case when it comes to the idea of acting, actors and actresses, and we've been given this formula where initially it's like, okay, go to class, right? Find an agent, get some headshots, move to LA, move to Los Angeles, move to Chicago, move to London, wherever it is, and then begin to audition and stay in class. So I can remember when I first began and I got the same advice that a bajillion other actors were getting, which is exactly what I told you. And I just thought to myself, I'm like, okay, that's great and all, especially when I'm just getting started. But how in the world is that going to separate me to be able to stand out, to succeed when I go into audition for a role that has 40 or 50, well, look at the last couple of years, sometimes 600 different submissions for one role. How is that going to help me to stand out? Now, don't get me wrong. Class is great because you got to be acting somewhere. And my view is on class. I took a lot of class when I first got started. But what happened is I found out, being on set, being in the midst of a film, having a director walk me through things, having a director give me feedback, then give me direction, being on a film set, TV set, commercial set, period, is what gave me the greatest training that I could ever have. Now, having a mentor is fantastic. If you like the class setting and you feel like, okay, class is for me, then definitely do it. But in my own personal opinion, and this is just for me, and it may be the same for you, it may be different, right? Different folks, different strokes. I found that it was it was pivotal for me to really follow what was in my heart. And I'm going to tell you the exact same thing. So whatever that means, whatever that looks like for you, I want you to follow that. Okay. But as I was saying before, we're given these basic vanilla steps of this methodology as to how to go about succeeding. And so I just realized early on that it did nothing whatsoever to allow me to have any type of difference as it related to, me succeeding in this industry in a way that I wanted to succeed. And so I'm going to tell you that the first thing you need to do mentally, emotionally, but more importantly, spiritually, is you've got to define what success is for you. Okay? You got to define what success is for you. Now, for some, that's fame. For others, that's working at the community theater on a regular basis, getting the chance to really act out the creative expression that lies within the heart. For others, it could be all of it. And who knows, right? Who knows what that is defined as? But I'm going to tell you with as much conviction as I possibly can, none of it is wrong. All of it's right. Because why? Success is different for different people, right? Not everybody is destined to be an Hollywood A-lister. It's just not inside of everybody to do that, right? We have to understand that once we figure out what the blueprint, not the blueprint for our own success in this industry is, then we can start taking steps towards it. And I'm just going to show you how that works by giving you my own experience with success. Okay. So when I first got in, I wanted all of it. I wanted to be a big movie star. I wanted, fame. I wanted money. I wanted, to be seen in this light of being this big star. And I'm going to tell you that I got all of that at a very early age. And what I mean by that is that one of my very first films was with some of the biggest stars you can imagine. And then all of a sudden, my second and my third film were the exact same thing, the exact same way. The very first commercial I ever did was shown around the entire Southeast region where I was living, to where everybody I went to high school, well, not everybody, but everybody I knew at some point between being the age of 30 and being the age of like 15 or 16 saw this commercial. So what I had set out for myself, or what I thought success was for me, I got it really fast and really quickly. But I'm going to tell you something, and I'll be completely honest with you. My measure of success at the very beginning was all superficial. And how do I know that it was superficial? Because when I achieved it, it wasn't enough, right? It just wasn't enough for me to say, wow, this is what I've been living my life for, and I just absolutely love it, and it's great. No, you know what happens when your success is superficial on that level? When now it's okay to have superficial goals. I'm not saying it's not, but you have to have something that fulfills the deeper essence of your soul. So, like I said, I got pretty much everything that I wanted, made more money than I have ever had being an actor. I got fame. I used to get people messaging me on Facebook, sending me direct messages, instant messages, whatever you call it. I used to have people emailing me from across the ocean in France, saying, I saw this movie. I'm like, Jesus, my email information out there like that, right? But I just wasn't fulfilled. And so I started in 2005. I took a break for like almost a year and a half, 2 years. I got back into it at 2007. And then I had a huge just breakthrough. And I just started working and doing all these amazing things. And then I want to say about 2009, I kind of got burnt out from it because the truth is I had experienced everything that I wanted to experience. And I was just like, man, this is just not enough. I need to reconfigure what my definition of success is. So I went back to the drawing board and I said, you know what? At that time, I was really growing spiritually. And I said to myself, you know what? I love the fame. I love making a lot of money off of my films. I love, being in the limelights and the marquees and all these other amazing things. But I'm going to tell you, what I love doing the most is what I'm doing right now. And that is helping other actors, actresses, and performers. That is what fulfills me on a soulful level. And the beauty is that I love booking roles. I love working on set. I love getting to know new directors and producers and, communicating and hanging out with the crew and all these amazing things. But I always find myself at every point in time, no matter what set I'm on, no matter what type of project I'm working, I always find myself helping, right? Or doing my best to inspire another actor or actress with the experience that I have had. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is success for me, right? It just is. So I'm going to tell you where this led me to. So as I was just basically doing, I had such amazing fortune in the beginning of my career. I just did. I still have amazingly good fortune, but I mean, I had really, really great fortune with the opportunity to work with some of the biggest people in Hollywood and just learn from them and get to know them and their stories and stuff like that. So that was really such a blessing. But as that continued, what I did is I wanted to take what I was learning and I wanted to give it back to any actor or actress or performer that I could. I really wanted to do that, and that's what I began to do. And so I forget what year it was, but I had set the goal to help. I think it was the year I released my book. I had set the goal to help 10 million actors and actresses just by inspiring, not trying to sell them anything, but just giving them the wisdom, the information, the knowledge, the understanding that I had within myself. And so I shattered that goal, and it was the most fulfilling experience that I could ever have in my career. And most people be like, what? It wasn't like being nominated for an award. It wasn't, being on the screen and coming in at AMC and then having everybody clap. No, to be honest and truthful with you, those things are fantastic and they're wonderful and I enjoy them truly. But what set me on fire was that every actor and actress who would read my article, and I'm going to get to that here in just a bit, read one of my many articles that I've written, or I would work with them and I could share with them some of my experiences, and I could tell just by the look on their face and the feeling, the essence of their vibration that they had become a greater performer just by communicating and coming into contact with me. That put me on the highest level, because at my heart of hearts, I am a teacher. I am an uplifter. I am a messenger. And that's what helped me to really intertwine this industry with being an actor with being a teacher as well. And so this passion was burning so brightly, and I was in Los Angeles. And a lot of my listeners who've been here with me since the beginning, the story goes where I decided that I was going to write for a really big publication. And guess what? I didn't know anybody, right? I didn't know anybody at all. And I just decided, you know what? I'm going to find an email for Backstage, because Backstage was like the biggest publication for actors at the time. And I said, I'm going to write for Backstage. And I found this email and I just sent it off, and I sent my article that I had wrote that I'd written to this email. And literally a day later, somebody responded and they said, well, I'm not necessarily the guy. This isn't the email you need. I'm going to give you the editor's email. And when I tell you this woman, she's not an editor there anymore, I don't believe. I'm not sure if she's at Backstage, but her name is Allie Smith. And she was the kindest, sweetest, nicest individual. And I sent her my article and she said, oh my God, this is so good. Yes, we will publish this. We're like a month lag or a month behind. So this will be in next month's release of the articles we have, but we are happy to have you aboard. Now, most people will look at this and say, well, how much are you getting paid, right? And don't get me wrong, you got to get paid. You definitely want to get paid when it comes down to it, right? That's just the truth of the matter, because that's one of the greatest parts about doing what you love is when somebody, pays you in return for it, right? In exchange for it. So, but with Backstage, it was more or less about exposure. But after being in all those films, that sort of brought me some fame, and then having commercials run and seeing, having commercials shown in different countries and stuff like that. That was great, but I didn't really care about that. My biggest thing was Backstage had millions and millions of readers on a regular basis. So my biggest thing was, this is a perfect opportunity to inspire other actors, actresses, and performers. And so it didn't stop at Backstage. I wind up going to different publications, and I just wrote. There was a time, I think for a year, I just wrote as many inspirational articles as I possibly could. And the beauty is they're still posted to this day. I think I wrote 27 different articles for Backstage, and also filmed 2 inspirational videos for Backstage as well. And it filled me up, right? It filled me up on the highest possible level. And I said, you know what? I love acting as much as anything, but I have to implement this into my acting in some way, shape, or form. And that's exactly what I did. So the mindset for me became, I am a success when I can step out on set and inspire whoever I'm around, albeit actor, albeit crew, albeit producer, albeit director, whoever I can inspire, whether it is with my performance or my wisdom or my knowledge. If I can do that, I am succeeding. And I'm proud to say I am succeeding because of that. Now let's get to you. That was just kind of rough. But the fact of the matter is, once you have the idea of what success means to you, then you make sure that every position, well, you don't even have to make sure. Once you get it down into your subconscious, it's going to act itself out in every capacity. And that's the biggest thing, right? Is just being able to be in alignment with the highest expression of you. That's all you really want. So what is it? What defines your success as an actor and performer? And so I gave these examples earlier, but I really want you to go deeper. And what I mean by going deeper, right? Are you a teacher in this industry? Are you an inspire? Are you both? Are you someone who is, more about behind the scenes and dealing with organization or all these things can come into play even though you're in front of the camera, right? So we can't discontinue or discount any of it because it all matters. The truth of the matter is just finding it, right? Because once we find it, what we'll see is that we can begin to set our minds to the point of making sure that this, what we call our personal, right, our soulful success and fulfillment, is at the forefront of everything we do. Every action we take, everything we take part in, is somehow or another fulfilling that measure of success, right? And that's all it comes down to. And like I said, when you get that down, right, when that becomes a conviction, a priority, a measure of faith within you, you're going to find one opportunity after another to fulfill that very essence of the success that you desire, not only desire, but you have set for yourself. Okay. And so that's the biggest thing. And so the first thing really is to clear out anything that does not match up to it. And I'll give you an example. There were jobs that I worked, I can remember, especially in Los Angeles, where it was just absolutely terrible. It was just terrible. Like I wasn't in a good place. I was confused. I was just acting just to be acting. I had lost my confidence at that time, and I can remember being on set, and people were just so mean. Like they were just mean. They were not encouraging. They were selfish. They were just and I accept all of it because, it was a learning experience for me to really dive into what it is that I wanted. But I knew that I didn't want to be exposed to that type of environment on set. It had to be an environment where people were inspiring and uplifting each other. And I was, taking part in that, and like maybe even sharing my book, sharing my article, sharing my wisdom, whatever it was. And I just didn't have the opportunity, and it disgusted me. And I got home, and I can remember my wife was asking me about it. I was like, yeah, it was okay. And so I did my 2 days of filming, and then I stopped for a bit. I was like, I can't have this happen again. This is not what I want to have happen, right? I just can't be in a situation like this. And so I took a quick breather, and I just began to build on my confidence. And I began to set in my mind and in my heart what it is I wanted from this. And before you know it, it started to shift and change. And I will tell you, I have not been on a set like that since. Okay? I have not been on a set like that since that time. And I will tell you, this was like in 2013, 14. So almost 11 years ago. I had not been on a set since like that. And it was because of that opportunity, because people were just, there was no soulful purpose behind what they were doing. It just made it a set where, excuse me, I hate to use the word superficial, but it just made it an environment that was so selfish driven. And nobody was trying to give anything to anybody. And everybody was trying to look better than the other person. And that's a detriment to any type of work environment, let alone, an environment where you're trying to come together to create a film, which is a bunch of moving parts. And so not to just be hung up on this, but it really clarified what I wanted. And I just began to work towards that. And that was the first step, moving away from what I didn't want. So I ask you, what is it that you don't want, right? What is it that you don't want as far as everything goes with your success? What doesn't look like success for you is the biggest thing. Abraham calls this contrast, right? And contrast puts you into a space where you can see what it is you don't want to move into a space of what you do want, okay? Think about that for just a second. So once you figured out the contrast, then you can get into the clear, and the clear tells you what it is you do want. And then that moves us into the second part of this, right? The second part of it is now you got to plant the seed, okay? And we can plant the seed through repetitive affirmation and meditation. Some people don't like affirmations because, they say, well, affirmations don't work. I will tell you this, affirmations work when there is an emotional connection and feeling to the affirmations, okay? When there's an emotional connection and feeling to the affirmations, they will work and work tremendously, okay? And so when you set up your affirmation or your intention statement, think about it as much as you possibly can. Like really take the time to embed it into, make it just be one with it, is what we really want to do, because that's the biggest thing that's going to determine. It's just going to determine how you begin to think about stuff, right? So if I say I am a supremely successful, a supremely famous actor and performer who inspires others through my, conducting of a role on a television show or something like that, that's probably too long. But if I say that to myself over and over, and I listen to it over and over, and I play it on my voice memo or my Parrot app and just hear it again, and again, what happens is feeding myself that thought begins to shift my mind, where my mind has to give me ideas that resonate from that thought, right? So let's shorten that out. I'm a super famous, super successful actor and performer. I say that enough, my mind's going to give me thoughts, right? And also what's going to happen is circumstances are going to manifest that feed into the very thing that intention, that affirmation states, right? And all we have to do is just take action upon it, and just not only take action, and this goes right into number 3, we have to believe that what we're asking for, not what we're asking for, but what we're declaring with all our divine power, is truth for us, and it will unfold. That's the number 3 thing. The number 1 thing that can get in our way is our lack of belief in what we're asking for. This is the number 1 thing that can disrupt you from succeeding, because you will only go as your thinking, as your mind, as your beliefs allow you to go. And you got to believe that it's possible, whatever it is you ask for. Sometimes it helps to ask for something that you feel a little bit comfortable with, so you can begin to ease and build gradually on that, as opposed to asking for something that's too far out of the scope of your reality, which then so all of a sudden brings up resistance, and then it stops you in your tracks. You want to set something that is achievable, but it also helps you to stretch. It also helps you to grow in a lot of ways. Okay. And so when you do that, then you're able, and we'll do that. You got to believe, right? And then once you believe, that's the ticket. Cause in the Bible, it says, be it unto you as you believe. And so you start to believe things. The beauty is nothing really is true in life unless we believe it to be true, right? I had a quote: the power of my life is in my conviction of what I believe to be true. So if I believe that I'm a success in this way, or that way, and I truly believe it, and I have conviction, it's going to happen. Why? Because I believed it enough within myself for the universe to carry it out. And that's exactly what has to happen with you as it relates to success as an actor and performer. So you want to set something that is easy to believe, and I'm going to give you something that's just relatively easy for the most part. If something comes up, sit with it, clear it out. But just by simply saying, I believe in myself, or I believe in me, and just saying it over and over and over, let it bring up what it needs to bring up. But don't be surprised if all of a sudden you begin to feel more confidence. You begin to feel more vigor towards what it is you want. And what's going to happen is those feelings, right? Those feelings are going to magnetize opportunities to express the thought of, I believe in me, the conviction of, I believe in myself. And that's when you start to realize that you can be a success, because all it is just putting it out into the universe by planting the seed within you. And once you plant the seed within you and your mind has it, your mind's just basically a computer program looking to fulfill the identity of whatever you give it. And it will determine that by what you give the most focus on, what you give the most feeling to, what you feel the most emotion around. Your mind is going to seek out to fulfill that thing, and it will do it at all cost, right? And that's the beautiful thing with being a human being or a spiritual being, having a human experience, is that when you give your mind the idea of something, it will begin to take that journey to make it a reality. And it's no different in your quest as an actor and performer, actress or performer. And you just got to feed that. See, I'm going to tell you this and I'm going to let you go. We talk a lot about the ego and how the ego can be bad and the ego can do this. No, the ego's only objective is to fulfill the identity that you give to it, right? The ego's only objective is to fulfill the identity that you give to it at all costs, by any means necessary, and it will do that. And it will manipulate things to do that to the degree where it cannot be stopped. Here's how that works for you. What is it that you want? What is it that success looks like? What does the identity of the success that I've set for myself feel like? Because guess what? Once the feeling drops in, the ego's got the identity, and it will stop at nothing to bring it about. See, the ego's only bad if you don't know how to use it. The ego's only bad if you start dissing it. But if you say, okay, God gave me this thing for a reason, let me use it to my advantage. Let me build an identity that not just serves me, but serves everyone around me and serves my success as well as their success, right? If that's what you're looking for. But you can use your ego to that regard and understand anything that is surrounded with any type of importance, any type of attention, any type of anything that you feel is near and dear to your heart, the ego is going to make every single effort to make it to come to pass. And it's part of the subconscious, and the beauty of it is that there's no right or wrong, right, with it. It just understands these commands. It understands, okay, create the identity, right? And so with that comes a lot of different ideas to fulfill your goals for success. Now, we're going to talk about this a lot more later, but I just wanted to give you some things to think about and to mull over and to really dive into. And I know without a doubt that if you use this stuff, it's really going to help you along the lines of really starting to succeed in the way that you want to succeed. And it just gives you an underlying sort of methodology to how to make it happen, aside from the vanilla cupcake, generic, watered down, go to class, get some headshots, find an agent, find a manager, whatever it is. Yeah, those things are great, but those things are effects. We want to get to the cause. We want to get to the very root cause of success, and that lies within us, and it lies with using all of the things that we've shared today. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any comments, any feedback, any correspondence, please, shaung04@gmail.com. Write to us. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. With that being said, ending this episode, you guys have a wonderful day. Everybody out there facing the hurricane coming in Florida, please be safe. Take care of yourselves. Do whatever you got to do. Take care of yourselves. And hopefully this one won't be as catastrophic as the last one was, but sending you good vibes, positive vibes, high vibration, all that good stuff. And we will talk soon. Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure. Take care.